Here we are. It's a Saturday morning. It is time for the Remax Magnolia show with myself, Curtis Pope. And joining us this week, we have James Minchau. Hey, it's been a while.
It has been. It's too bad, but you know what? I hope to be here way more often, like every day.
Every day.
Well, I hope so.
That's a lot of James and Curtis time.
It would be, but the poor public.
Well, the plus side is, as you're well aware, all the team at Remax Magnolia, when they come on with me, they take little shots at you.
I know they do. It's hard being me.
I hope you don't go home at night and cry after they all pick on you.
I have a therapist, so that's okay.
They're making their money right now, are they?
They certainly are.
It's with love that they pick on you.
They certainly do.
And of course, you have brought in a guest for us today. We have Chris James here.
We certainly do. Chris James of Smooth Lines Fabrication. Say hi, Chris.
Hey, how's it going?
Say hi. Hi, Chris. That would have been perfect.
It's true.
They would have put him in his place. Oh,
Indeed, yes.
So tell me why we're bringing Chris into the fold today, and what we're going to talk about. What are we going to let the people know about?
Well, I've always wanted to talk a little bit about living where you work. Now, not like me, who sort of lives somewhere and I have an office sort of tucked away somewhere in my house amongst my music studio. I'm talking about real work. I'm talking about this guy has a large 6,300 square foot shop right in his compound of his beautiful farm. And he actually does fabrication, and he's sort of a workaholic, right? I would say.
Yeah, I try to be.
That pays the bills.
It certainly
That's right.
does. Yeah, and so I wanted to talk about what that's like to be able to, live where you're working and play sort of where you live as well. How you can have all the things you do in a given lifetime, really, all in one spot. And so I thought it would be interesting to sort of hear firsthand what that's like.
Yeah, absolutely, because, that's something we've been talking a lot more about, especially since the pandemic, with people working from home and things like that. So, yeah, I think it'll be interesting, especially that's something that, a lot of times we've talked about this. We've been talking about people working from a home office, but now we're talking about, actually working in a 6,300 square foot shop on your own property. Well, that's a whole other ballgame.
Absolutely. So, why did you end up putting the shop, like, at your property?
Well, I think it in today's time, trying to run a business and pay the high rental fees, or even if you got the money to be able to buy a commercial space, it's not feasible for most people. So it just kind of made sense to find a piece of property that either had a shop already or something that I could build a shop and get rid of that rent every month that you're paying.
Yeah.
Just to have a space.
Yeah, and then you were, obviously you're probably, with a busy manufacturing job, you're probably working overtime a lot. I would imagine you're working sort of all hours to try to get some deadlines done. Yeah.
Yeah, it gives you the flexibility to kind of either work when you want to work, or if you have those long days, you're more than capable of putting them in. How did your
family take to having you at home more?
Well, it was a learning curve in the beginning, and I've run my business for the last 14 years. So it started with me and my wife, and she learned and I learned very quickly that there's things that got to get done, and you focus on that and you work around it, and then as we grew together and got a family, it just changed. It wasn't, you finish work and, then family time began. It was, you had the opportunity to have the whole day where, if you got younger kids, they could come in during your lunch break or whatever, and you gotta spend time with them then, or do schoolwork during the day to help them, or, so it was a real plus.
That's fantastic. I know from mine, my kids are homeschooled, so it's great to be able to do that. But I couldn't imagine as a manufacturer or something like that being able to just take some time out, because you have some employees there as well, and so being able to have them sort of take the rains while you go up and actually maybe spend a lunch hour with your family. That sounds spectacular.
I'm glad you pointed that out because I want people to know that the child labor laws are in place and that he's not making the kids work in the manufacturing plant.
Not yet.
Not yet. Because the way that was going a little bit, I'm like, are the kids working? Oh, okay. James cleared it up. But yeah, you had me a little nervous there for a second.
That's right. So, Chris, you don't just have this home in the city with a giant shop taking up the entire backyard. Why don't you describe your place a little bit for us?
Well, we're sitting on 31.5 acres, and it's on the hillside of Vetter Mountain. So I've got on the bottom end where my shop and house is, I've got around 4 or 5 acres right there, and then the remaining kind of goes up the hill with a bunch of flat spots up top where I run cattle up there, and we've got barns and garden space, and it's just it's a space where you can pretty much do whatever you want, and grow or raise whatever you want, or have whatever lifestyle, but you're still relatively close to all the amenities that you'd want inside the city.
Well, yeah, I mean, I live right downtown Abbotsford, and it only took me maybe 16, 17 minutes to get to your place. So, and then Chris took me on a little hike up that hill, up the hill yesterday. And
of course he did, because I bet he can run faster from a bear than you can.
He certainly can, or from a bull.
That's right.
He's got some cattle back there, and one bull was acting kind of macho while we were there. But yeah, he took me straight up that hill, and there's some nice roadways that going up there. He took me to a bunch of clearings that are up there, some beautiful spots, yeah, I mean, I just about died at one point. It was pretty damn steep, but that's okay. But like, you think that hillside's so much steeper than it actually is. I was shocked that it wasn't as steep, and so it's quite interesting that there's lots of usable space right on the side of that mountain. It's fantastic.
No, and it'd be a great spot because you'd have some great valley views when you get up to some of those spots, right?
Yeah. I got some great video shots when we were up there. It was really, really good. But you have cattle, and the cattle are just roaming around on the hill grazing, yeah?
Yeah. So I've got 19 right now that we've fenced basically the whole perimeter of the mountainside, and we kind of let them free range on there for majority of the year. Wintertime we'll bring them down, and we'll keep them down close to the barn and feed them. But it's a good fit for the land that I have. They use it well, and they clear a lot of it for me, so I don't have to do the manual work.
They take out all the tripping underbrush.
That's right.
Wow. That's why it's nice and clear in there. You can see for quite a ways. It's like from the valley floor, that area just looks dense. But once you get in there, it's so open underneath. Mm-hmm. That's sort of that shocked me as I went through there. But having cattle, it allows you to actually have a farm status area.
That's right. Yeah.
So that, I mean, I was shocked at the low taxes that does. So I haven't owned a place with farm status, but a lot like that, let's say in the city, might have a huge amount of taxes on it. It might be $10,000 worth of taxes. So actually growing your own farm goods, the cattle there, actually allows you to have the farm status. Did you do it for do you sell these cattle? Do you?
Yeah, so we originally started with just a couple cows, and that was mainly for our own meat source. And then as we continued doing it, we started getting requests from neighbors and friends wanting to purchase the beef. So we started growing our cattle herd, and now we do anywhere from 3 to 5 beef a year that we sell, which helps us get our farm status.
Yeah.
And then we put one usually a year into the freezer for ourselves.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's funny how just doing 19 cattle, which is still a decent herd,
Yeah.
can help save that. But I know that even just keeping a couple beehives, if you have a good chunk of property.
That's
can
right.
help.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, a couple beehives in your property. If you've got a good chunk of property, suddenly your taxes come way down. And I mean, you've got to learn a thing or two about bees, I'm sure. And
Yeah.
a lot of those lessons come the hard way.
Yeah, I've learned one of those lessons once or twice. Ow, I'm still feeling it. But when I went up there yesterday on the hike with you, it was cool because I felt like, you know, those places you go up to like 100 Mile House and they'll have like thousands of acres and they'll just let the cattle roam, and then, you know, you'll have to find them later on, you know. But it's that ranch feeling on this property, and that's what I got. Is like, man, they have this whole area. How do you find them? How do you find cattle in the forest?
Well, ours are trained pretty well. That I call out for the girls and they come a running, just like when I was a teenager.
Oh,
That's a good line. I like that.
me too. and the bull, I guess, isn't too far away.
That's right. Yeah.
That's awesome. What's a community like there? Like out like, I know there's like the Sumas Prairie, and they're all big farms, and that community must be a very professional community. What's the community like? Just sort of on the hillside there. Does people keep to themselves, or?
For the most part, yes. But you know, during the floods there in was it 2018 or 2019, everybody just kind of got together and helped each other out, and it was a great feeling that even though sometimes you may feel that you're way out there. Mm-hmm. Everybody's friendly and willing to help.
Cool.
So it's a nice vibe. It's small town kind of feel.
Yeah, even though you're only minutes away from, like, it takes me probably 18 minutes to get to Costco, and I live right in town. Mm-hmm. I drove from Costco to your place, and it was actually less time.
Yeah, it's probably a bit further, but because you're going against traffic, it's actually quicker getting to the grocery stores.
It's crazy.
And the other stores.
Like, closer to the things you need, yet you feel like you're so far out.
I live in East Abbey, just not too far from Costco in the scheme of things, and it's amazing. I still can't get that poutine to my daughter when it's still hot because of traffic. Like, you know, it's just like, Dad, when you're there, get me a poutine. Yes, sweet pea. And then next thing you know, it's like, I'm sorry, it's cold. But you were just down the road. I know. So I hear you. Well, with that, we should probably take a first and quick break here and come back in a few moments. James, if people want more information about Remax Magnolia, where can they go?
They go to RemaxMagnoliaRealty.com.
Perfect. We're back with more right after this.